Dear friends, education is one of the beautiful experiences in life. In this lecture, we are going to study how to enjoy this education, this beautiful experience everyone in a free country gets to the best of their own ability. People seeking greater well-being would be well advised to focus on pursuing education. If we are setting goals involving growth, connection, contribution, which all depend on education, rather than involving goals about the beauty, popularity, or money, that would be a very great thing. In addition to the good education, all the things, money, beauty, they automatically will come. That is the experience of the people all across the world. Goals that are interesting, they are more important, and they should be interesting personally and important to that person. They should be close to the deeply held values of the person. So that will enhance the experience of the education. Most of the contents of this lecture are based on the contents of these two books, which give a very good way of enjoying everyday life and enjoying the educational experience in particular. Learning is a very rewarding habit. We get more reward with less energy if we adopt rewarding habits at an early age. That's why we must learn with interest whenever we are in school. The people who are not able to get very good education in the early years, for them learning is a Herculean task. If you go through the biographies of the many successful people in the world, you will find that because they were not supported in their earlier life for their education, they had to struggle a lot. George Washington Carver is one of the best examples. They changed the world. But in a free country where parents are ready to give good education, the government is putting up the infrastructure of enjoying education. Why one should not enjoy the education? I feel we must make best use of the opportunities that are available with us. The habit of enjoying education is one such rewarding habit, and which we can very easily inculcate in our early life. Self-discipline and integrity is essential to imbibe this rewarding habit in ourselves. When there is no risk attached to transgressing rules, that means if you are breaking a rule, not attending a class is breaking rule. If there is no strict risk attached to it, then you may lose the interest in learning. That's why most of the universities prescribe that 75% of the attendance is essential. But in reality, if you are considering your education to be a privilege, you must attend 100% of the classes. Meaningless rules, if the rules are not having meaning, the activity will not be enjoyable. So you can consider for yourself that the rules of the university are there for your better education. They are going to give addition to the experience of education that you are going to have, because there are times for which you will be playing, there are social gatherings, so you can use that time for your enjoyment. But education should also be an enjoyable experience. For this, self-discipline is essential, and integrity of the personality is very important. If you are true to what you are doing yourself, that is one of the best ways to get. Neutral and destructive events will be there many times in everybody's life. How to turn these events into positive ones and turn the education an enjoyable experience, that is what is important. Every student should put his 100% effort to do that. Entropy is common, and to get maximum energy, we have to get the energy out of this entropy. One simple example. See, time is given to you. If you are not utilizing the time will go away like that. The time available to the wealthiest person or the most knowledgeable person on the earth and the person who is not successful is same. But the people who are using maximally for the benefit of themselves the energy that they have putting in constructive uses, for them the entropy will be automatically converted into energy. Any complex life form has got this ability, and human is one of the well-placed this thing. Thoughts have got energy. We create realities outside. A dam is created first in the thought, then on paper, and then in reality. and it increases the food production and we are all fed properly. So psychic energy is very important. The energy available in nature we should be able to harness for the upliftment, and this is possible only through proper education. Now, when we are facing hardship, to come out of the hardship and to enjoy the education, we must imbibe resilience. This is an essential quality for every person who want to live a good life. The ability to bounce back from an adversity, that is learn from the failures, work through challenges, and challenges will be there in everyday life, overcome obstacles, small or big. Some obstacles will be there, we'll be facing in our lives. We can have no control for what happens to us. Every time this control is not possible. So if we are taking the experience dispassionately and converting what we gain out of that experience, that entropy, into energy, so we will have definitely enjoyable educational experiences in our life. So education, it is possible to learn resilience in our education system. This is, I feel, one of the most essential characteristics that every student should learn when it comes to living. Building resilience improves the learning experiences. This also is an additional advantage. The relationship among thoughts, feelings and behavior become better. Resilience helps us in managing stress. When we have resilience, a bad experience we can pass off very quickly and we can again turn to the work of our interest. Resilience builds interpersonal skills. If you have an altercation with your friend and you stop talking, you will lose the very good relationship that you have cultured over the years. Resilience will help you overcome this deficiency. After some time, you can have a cup of tea together and then begin the experience of learning or whatever everyday activity that you want to do. Building resilience is a very important education. So we can control how we respond. That is in our hand. How you respond when something goes wrong is very important, because you cannot ensure that everything will go as you think or everything will be very in order. So we can see that the positive emotions, they enhance our circle of influence. See, a person is angry with you and you are not responding with him with anger, but you are trying to understand what he talks. That is positive emotions. Automatically the person who is angry with you will try to listen to you more carefully. Instead of that, if you are responding with anger, then the circle of influence will be automatically decreased. This is very important not only in interpersonal relationship but everyday work life as well, because every relationship will not have a lasting value. It is not possible to last the relationship. In workplace, the relationships are for short duration and the momentary experiences will be carried by the people who come in contact with you for small periods. So this is one of the very important part of the education, and to enjoy the education, one must understand this concept, because many times in conferences we will be going for some time and then we may not meet in our life again. So that time it is very important that the circle of influence is expanded. That will add to the professional abilities, that will add to the circle in which you work. There is neither good nor bad for any experience. The experience can be considered as a bad experience or a good experience by our thinking. Then why do bad thinking, or why attach negative emotions to an experience which will restrict my circle of influence? In my opinion, for every student, it is possible to enhance the experience of education by attaching positive emotion whenever he is getting the increment in his knowledge. It may be smaller, it may be insignificant, or sometimes it may be significant. But if we are able to attach positive emotions with every incremental learning, definitely we will be able to better control the environment in which we learn. See, beware of the ants. Many times a simple thing is happening, some small event is happening, we catastrophize it. We consider that to be a really very bad event. Actually, that is a momentary thing. After 5 minutes, that event will be over. Many times we see that we look into black and white aspects. See, either the thing is good or bad. There are many shades of gray we experience in everyday life. So these are the ants which are eating the energy. If this energy is utilized for the constructive purposes, then that will be helpful for our upliftment as well. Personalizing, mind reading, overgeneralizing and filtering. These are the ants that we must be aware of, and we should try to spend minimum energy on all these ants. So there are 4 simple steps wherein you can minimize the energy that you are losing in the ants. It is, you identify your thoughts. Any negative thought should be driven away, and if possible, you implant a good thought, a good positive emotion in place of that negative one. You can label the ants. Once you are able to label the ants, the energy that you will be losing will be immediately felt in your body. So you will not lose that energy, because thinking in a wrong manner is wasting energy that will come to you. Question and challenges and unhelpful thoughts should be removed from the mind. I can do this or I cannot do this. Many times we spend a lot of time thinking on this aspect. Instead of that, just begin the activity. Instead of thinking about the activity, first you plan the activity, and once you plan the activity, at right time you begin the activity. So many problems will be solved, and most of the energy will be used for the useful purposes. Replacing the emotions, the thinking with helpful and realistic aspects will improve the resilience, and that will really be a very great benefit for achieving the goals that you or everybody sets. Realistic and positive flexible thinking is essential to reach the set goals, to reach the objectives that we desire to attain. Facing up cold hard realities in a constructive way is essential. Unless you do this, tough times may come to you. But if you are surviving tough times by working constructively, you can definitely overcome those tough times and become a successful person. Every successful individual has faced some tough times. It is very important to focus actively on the positives. So we must encourage positive thinking of the people around us. If we form a group, that will be very helpful to attain the collective goals of each of us. Resilience can be learned and it can be developed. Resilience comes from taking care of yourself. If we are in good health, definitely we'll put best in our work. If we have optimism and perspective, this is a small event. The larger objective that we want to attain should not be affected by the small event. If we take care of this, on a games field, the players may be angry with one another because of one pass in football or a wrong ball in cricket. But the team as such, they do not give much importance of this. Such teams only win in the final analysis. So it is very essential that one must concentrate on using his or her strengths rather than looking for the weaknesses. So reinforce each other's strengths so that the resilience is built. Reaching and helping others is very important for resilient build. This also gives constructive thoughts in mind. Building positivity definitely improves the learning of the resilience. If the goals that we set are self-concordant, means they are according to the strengths, virtues that are available with the person, and everybody has to identify these virtues himself, then it is possible that the acquiring resilience plus pursuing a very good, enjoyable education will help attaining the goals. Self-concordant goals are those goals which are pursued out of strong interest. So the things that interest you are very important when it comes to setting self-concordant goals. The goals can be made self-concordant if they are from intrinsic qualities of the person. Goals which stem from the inner desire, they automatically become self-concordant goals. If we are trying to impress others by setting some goals, those goals are not self-concordant, and we must try to avoid such goals. This diagram gives you a clear indication that achieving goals is possible, that will lead to satisfaction and performance if those are self-concordant. Self-concordant does mean that they are of intrinsic interest of the person who is setting the goal. he is taking care that the relationship around him are reinforcing his activities to reach the goals, then only it is possible. If one is trying to only impress, then the goal cannot be self-concordant and it will be having difficulty, and the person sometimes may feel some negative emotions which will reduce his energy in attaining the set goals. It is possible that we can achieve the potential provided we get very good education and we acquire all the necessary skills along with the knowledge in our education. Those for whom only money is the primary objective, they have difficulty in achieving their full potential. Full potential is achieved by only people who are self-actualized, and this self-actualization comes only when you are attaching your intrinsic values, your strengths to the goals. That is, you are setting self-concordant goals. Having money can free you up to pursue the things. I can give the example of developing this course. I enjoyed developing this course, though I am an engineer. By profession, I am an engineer. In our engineering institute, I taught VLSI subjects. But when the students were coming to me with their problems that they are not able to concentrate on their studies, and they were explaining me, this is the problem I face to achieve maximum potential. So I found that the recent advances in the positive psychology were helping to intervene, or with proper interventions they are able to improve their studies. That was the thing that gave me interest, and this was possible only because I was well paid. So it is essential that that free time is available to you to uplift yourself so that you can help others. In addition to engineering, I could help my students in their overall development. We require courage. Selecting self-concordant goals also requires courage. It is a difficult skill. Acquiring it requires proper accurate self-perception, and everybody has not these self-perceptual capabilities. One has to acquire it by proper thinking. The ability to resist social pressure is essential when you are setting the goals. See, earning more money is a social pressure. If you are not living to your strength when you are trying to earn the money, then you will not be happy. So you may not enjoy the education, you may not enjoy the work that you are doing. If you want to do that, then you must develop the resilience, as I talked earlier. And the resilience and courage, they go together in setting self-concordant goals. See, we want many things. We first need to know what we want, and we should have the courage to be true to our wants. If I know what I want and I am true to what I want, I list it on the paper. It is essential for every student to do 2 lists. What he wants to do. And everybody knows that, see, you may not want to learn a subject, but to acquire the degree, passing in that subject is essential. Then that becomes a have to. So, if a proper combination of want to and have to is done, then you can attain the goal. All your dreams come true if you have the courage to pursue them. This is very important. Walt Disney's statement gives an indication that whatever may be the situation, if you persist with what you want to do, along with the compromises that you have to do, slowly increase the want tos that you want to do, automatically you will be a very successful person in the long run. What are your self-concordant goals? This is a very good exercise. I wish every student should do this exercise by writing down what are his strengths, what he wants to do, and in the given circumstances, what he is compelled to do. A person needs to feed himself, for that he should have the money. He may be pursuing a career to have that money, but whatever the free time that he has, he should spend in what he wants to do. That could be enjoying education. So many working people are taking e-learning courses from this Mukta Vidyapit. Many courses are offered. They are improving their credentials and later on leading very good lives. Internal and external barriers will be there. One must learn by listing them how I can prevent these internal barriers or external barriers away, so that they should not obstruct my pursuing of the goals. It is essential to do that. Now, what is this intrinsic energy? We must have a very clear view of what is intrinsic qualities and what is extrinsic quality. The question whether intrinsic or extrinsic is very fundamental to the choice. The pursuit is self-concordant or primary driving force only if it is intrinsic. It is reinforcing my strengths. It is reinforcing my talents. If the primary driving force is extrinsic, the experience will be have to. Because somebody is saying that you must earn 1 lakh rupee every month. If you are pursuing education, then that becomes extrinsic. While you are pursuing education, you are enjoying your studies, that is intrinsic. And every learning experience will be a combination of intrinsic and extrinsic. A proper ratio will only lead to good and enjoyable education. How happy one person is dependent on the ratio between the want tos and have tos. If you have got more want tos in your everyday life when you are learning and less have tos, you will definitely enjoy the experience. So my request to every student is that it is very easy to turn the educational experience into an enjoyable experience by proper taking care of what you want to do and what you have to do. There will be something we have to do. Considering that they are there, still we can enhance our experience of learning. Being focused on a task produces organization and efficiency. That comes from within. When you set a goal that you are going to read these 25 pages today, automatically that becomes a goal and you organize the time that is available at you and you finish those studies. This might be the experience of every person I have experienced in my own life. If we are devoid of a clear goal, we don't have that goal that today we are going to study these 2 chapters, then aimlessly we meander. Somebody gives you a call and calls you for a cup of coffee in the canteen, you move away. So, but if you had the goal and you had the planning for the day, you do not do this. So, aimless meandering will hamper the happiness, will hamper the enjoyable experiences that you are going to have in your education. So, we must minimize the aimless meandering by not becoming susceptible to the request of your friends. They may be very good friends. Every good friend will be good if he is respecting your ambitions. If he is not respecting your ambitions, then definitely there will come some limit that you stop spending time with friends and spend more time with your studies. See, being alone has its own value. When you are alone and pursuing your work gives you strength, that builds your ability of aimless meandering. It will stop the aimless meandering and you will be more and more into constructive work that needs to be developed to become happy. This yes and no is also very important. When to say yes and when to say no. When we should say no, we should be able to say no. Many times because of modesty we do not say, and that becomes a burden to yourself. When we know where we are going and what we really, really want to do, we should do that thing only. I should be true to myself. See, I want to be a good professional. To be a good professional, I should acquire the skills and knowledge necessary to my profession. If something is obstructing it, I must be able to say no. It is essential. We are likely to say no when the obligations are externally imposed on you. If the obligation is imposed by you on your own, then the possibility that you will say yes. So my request to my young friends is that for all the educational experiences that you are going to have, you say yes. And on weekends, in vacations, you can have the hedonistic feelings or you can feed into your momentary tendencies to enjoy the life. But apart from that, unless you spend good amount of time in education and acquire the skills necessary for very good professional lives, it is very difficult to feel happy on the long term. The meaning and purpose in your life will be served only when you are spending sufficient amount of time on your education, and that also by enjoying education. Unless one enjoys education, it is really very difficult to spend long hours in education. That is an essential prerequisite. One who enjoys the process, one who enjoys reaching the goal, the journey, will definitely enjoy the education. We have to learn to experience the enjoyment in the education. Time is a perishable resource. Whether I am using it for my purposes or I am not using it, it is going to go away. Everybody has got limited time on this earth. Time is a zero-sum game, very limited resource. In my opinion, it is the most precious resource on earth. Even if you have money, you cannot gain a single second in your life. Life is too short to do only what we have to do. It is barely long enough to do what we want to do. So if we keep this in mind, that the most precious resource on earth, that is time, is utilized for the education, and while enjoying it, definitely the possibility that everyone will become a very good, successful person in his own right, that is a dream. And that will definitely lead to a very, very conducive society. The primary objective of the goal is to liberate you and enjoy the now and the journey. Once you decide that you are going to acquire the highest degree or you are going to acquire the highest skill in your profession, now that becomes a goal. What to do, that question does not come in your mind now. How to begin with the activities that enhances the learning experiences so that I reach the highest skills, the highest degree that I have. Actually, this was the motivation which kept me learning, even getting a good job. I kept on learning because I wanted to do my PhD in one of the best educational institutes of the world. And IIT Kharagpur is one of the best educational institutes of the world. It is the first IIT in India. After independence, it was established. And I was there when Golden Jubilee celebration was there. I was awarded in PhD in 2003. So that was one of the very enjoyable experiences. But I was spending a lot of time on studies. So sometimes I used to work 16, 18 hours, but that was enjoyable. So I enjoyed that. So you can make time really very important. So it is very important that you convert the ritual studying into an habit. Short-term goals are about dividing and conquering the long-term goals. See, acquiring the highest degree is in education is the goal. But before that, suppose you want to acquire the PhD. You have to acquire first your first degree, BA, BSc, BE, whatever, BTech. And then go for the postgraduate degree, and then go for the doctoral studies. So you have to keep a timeline and then acquire these degrees. Unless I am pursuing my study with joy, this becomes a difficulty. So we should do this. Following our own commitments and goals is not easy. So it is not that easy to do, because when it comes to everyday working, to acquire the highest skills, it requires lot of efforts and lot of psychic energy. And to cope with that stress when it comes, when you are learning new subjects, sometimes they are difficult as well. Sometimes you may not be able to get proper guidance. Available textbooks are not there. The study material is not adequate to acquire the highest skill. Then also you have to persist with it, because doctoral degree itself is contribution, something new in the area in which you are working, the field of your interest. So you have to pursue with it. It takes time for a practice to become a habit. So unless I persist with my work continuously for some time, it cannot become a habit. So education should become a habit. For that, you decide some time every day for educating yourself. In the morning, in the evening, wherever your energy is above average and you can grasp the new things, because learning new things requires some extra energy. Change of any sort, be it starting an exercise regime, studying regularly, overcoming procrastination, is likely to last when we have the support of others. If others are supporting you, I am doing exercise regularly and I tell my students that, see, this is the time I go to gym. This 1 hour I have reserved. And by mistake, suppose you are not going there. Your friends tell, hey, it was your time. You should have been in the gym. Why you are here? So it is possible that you correct yourself unless we build such collaborative relationship around us. See, in the morning I can tell my mom, see, I want to study 5 to 7, please. Even if I am not getting up, you help me in getting up. She will definitely help. So such help should be sought from the family members, from the friends, from the teachers, from the people who you can believe in. Unless we enjoy the support of the people around us, it becomes very difficult to enjoy the educational process through which we are going. Learning becomes enjoyable. Ensuring that the process of learning itself is enjoyable is the responsibility of each student. See, looking at the strengths of the students in the education, it is really very difficult for the teacher to pursue the student for their studies. For even in today's world, the parents are too busy to see that each student is learning. But your parents, your teachers, and all the people around you want you to succeed. So why not take the responsibility of becoming successful on ourselves? I wish that every student should do this. This is possible through enjoying education. So the process that I am explaining you will definitely help you in enjoying your education. Teachers can facilitate this process, but see, unless you are thinking on your own, I can never ensure that you are learning the difficult concept that I want to teach. Decoding of that difficult concept in your brain is the person's responsibility. Sometimes the attendance in some very good teachers' classes, I have found that is not that good. Later on, students repent that, see, I should have attended those lectures because those were really very helpful in my education. Instead of listening to the others, you go experience yourself. When you know that you are having very good experience, you are getting some help, then you pursue with it. So it is a matter. See, any experience by your thinking you can turn into a good experience. So in my opinion, every learning experience should be turned into a good experience by your own thinking, and it is very much possible for every student to turn his or her education into an enjoyable education by proper thinking. Children are very sensitive to the cues. They internalize the educator's belief. See, if educators take the responsibility that the situation prevailing in the educational institution is conducive to the learning, conducive to the enjoyment of the education, it is very easy to do this. See, for this, it is essential that the present and future benefits should merge. The mindset of the rat racer is adverse to the emotional intelligence and thus happy to and successful life. See, rat racer enjoys only in the relief. He cannot enjoy the work, but he enjoys the vacation. So that is not a good way. Reconciling present and future is essential. One must enjoy the education process as well as the vacations. It is possible that if I think properly, I can enjoy both these processes. That is what I call enjoying education. The work on flow by eminent social psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi is giving us the ideas that we can turn any experience into an enjoyable experience. He provides us with important insights and guidelines to turn every experience into an enjoyable experience. How we create environment at home, in school, that are conducive to the experience of present and future benefit, so that I take enjoyment in the present and I have got future gain. If I can add pleasure and meaning to it, it is very important. The flow model developed by Professor Mihai Csikszentmihalyi helps in getting into this mode. The graph on the screen will give you that if the task at hand is conducive to challenge and skill level, whatever is my skill level, and the task that I am undertaking, if they are close to each other, then I enjoy that experience. When you start playing a new game, it is really very difficult to enjoy the game. I take the example of table tennis. Somebody is throwing the ball at you, you are not able to return. That means your skill levels are low. After training 8 days or 10 days, you are able to return it. The person will enjoy playing with you. A very skilled person never enjoys playing with a very low skilled person. So the flow moment will occur when the two persons who are enjoying the game of table tennis are of around same skills. So this also goes. A teacher who is very skilled and the student is not skilled, then it's the responsibility of the teacher that he should come down, uplift the skill levels of the student. And once the student's skill levels are uplifted, it is possible for the teacher to teach difficult things. Unless I make a proper combination of this, I cannot be in the flow model. If the skill levels of the students are low and teacher is teaching at a higher level, the teacher will go in anxiety mode. And if the difference becomes too much, teacher will start worrying instead of learning. This is an anxiety. This is a reality. This has been found on many research studies. See, one should feel some excitement. Some excitement can be called as arousal. The intention to learn new things. Once if the person goes into a arousal mode, it is the responsibility of the teacher or the educator see to it that that student comes into the flow mode. Once he comes into the flow mode, then again, slowly induce an increment in the skill level in the students. You increase because you are able to control the complexity of the subject that you are teaching. Now you can increment the complexity a little. So unless the teacher and the educators are not able to keep the student in the flow mode, it is really very difficult for the students to enjoy the education. Now in this creative pause, see, it is the responsibility of the student as well to see to it that he is enjoying the learning. What are the things you really want to do? Unless the student is really interested in education, how can teacher make him learn? So to go into the flow mode, it is the combined responsibility of the teacher plus student together, plus the environment in the institution. Are you spending quality time on your studies? This question must be asked, and one must go with the quality time analysis and find out how much study I am putting in the education. Are you active for a public cause? If one is active for the public, see, if one is doing his duties very properly, you will find that most of the people who are good in one aspect, they are good in all other aspects as well. Minimum proficiency they are. A successful professional will definitely try to work for a public cause. There are upteens of such examples. So if you are able to do that also, that means you can enhance your studies as well. That means enjoying education comes with some, see, you can teach your friends of lower classes when you are free. That is a public cause. You are helping those students. You are improving your skills. That will in turn know that you really want a very good education and you want to teach the students who really want to learn. So this will give you, a public cause can be helpful for you for enjoying the education. So such activities one can have. We must put aside time for such activities, and it is essential that music is rejuvenating. Going on weekends for a musical concert or to art gallery enhances the learning experiences, because appreciation of the beauty is one of the important aspects that is given by the Almighty in every human being. So it is essential that we must learn to appreciate all the beautiful things around us. Unless we spare some time for that, we cannot enhance our life experiences. The satisfaction level of the life is improved only when we appreciate the beauty. Once we learn to appreciate the beauty in music, we definitely will be able to appreciate the rhythm with which the teacher teaches. Because he will go into a rhythm when he is in the flow mode. Teacher needs to go into the flow mode. Then only he can perform at best. Flow mode gives you peak experience. So ritualizing activities is essential to go into the flow mode. Change of deeply ingrained habits and patterns does not happen overnight. They require some effort. As I told the example of table tennis game, unless you go and practice for some time, 15 days, you cannot acquire the minimum skills. And once you acquire the minimum skills, you go into the flow mode. So it is very important that you ritualize your activities so that you can go into the flow mode. See, negative rituals also are important. In addition to creating a habit of proper activities that enhance your skills, engagement, it is very important that you introduce some negative rituals. You may be surprised by the word negative rituals, because you need to avoid something. You need to keep some time where you are whiling away time, that should be avoided. That negative ritual is negative in the sense that you are not indulging that activity. But if you are not indulging that in that activity, you are sparing some time, and that spare time can be used for education, and that enhances the skills, that enhances the overall experience of the education. So the negative rituals that I request the students to develop is that I have found that many students go in the laboratory and begin surfing internet. See, a lab session is to learn the new skills. It is not for surfing internet. So it is very essential that whatever the time slot that you have kept for the studies, they should be quality times. So it may, whether that is in the laboratory or home. For that, it is very essential that in the day you prepare some internet free time zone. In that you will not be doing surfing. Absolutely no. And phone free time zones are also essential. See, because of the mobile, everybody would like to be in touch at will with the others. The privacy of the people is getting obstructed. If somebody is calling you when you are engrossed in deep studies, it is really very difficult to get to that level of concentration after attending the phone. So when you know that this is the study time, why you should keep that time as phone free time? One can put off the phone, switch in the switch off mode, and after those 2 slot hours where you will be doing very intensive studies and acquiring the knowledge of a very difficult subject, see, this will be an advantage. This negative ritual will have an advantage which will get reflected in your presentation when next day, suppose you are to make a presentation of 10-15 minutes, because of the deep study that you have made earlier night, the quality of the presentation will automatically be improved. Your delivery will be improved because you have spent more time now on the studies. Your thought processes are inclined, and those thought processes will give you a very good presentation next day. I feel every student can enjoy such good educational experiences. It is very easy for every student to change his habits into rewarding learning habits. These rewarding learning habits will give you very good learning experiences. Don't stop at good learning experiences. So we must always strive for the best. The best learning experiences will be you will be having only when you are enjoying the education. And if I structure the way I study, it is possible for me that I enjoy the education. So if one studies the flow model properly and acquires all the elements of the flow models and puts them into his or her regular studies, it is very easy for the person to enjoy the studies. So my request to all my students is that acquire the elements of the flow model into your rituals and acquire the enjoying education. So it is very easy to learn to enjoy the education. I have learned it. Actually, the books that are available for the students now were not available when I was in my undergraduate years. I really feel very bad. If these books were would have available to me those days, I would have made my educational experience much more than what I had done. Thank you.